Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, we are on the air and everywhere in Southern California and across this great country we call America the Beautiful. Good to have you along with me, Jesse T. It's time for the Jesse T Show on a Thursday in Southern California from 5 to 6 right here every day of the week. Coming off a great show of Roundup, Wound Up yesterday. Wild and crazy it was. My goodness, and I was blazing fire. I had torpedoes coming out of my eyeballs. I was just right on the topics, and we had a good time with the Brett Hunt who checked in. But we've got a special show lined up for you today. First off, take care of a little bit of business real quick. One of the things I want to let you know about, and that is, of course, you can catch us on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. Also, Instagram Live at Jesse Torrero. YouTube, we're really starting to build. We want to get those subscribers and members up as fast as we can. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up. Ticket giveaways, trip giveaways. We're going to give away some money. That's right, honey, baby. We're going to take care of you. You know, we want to make sure you're living right and large. That's what it's all about. You know, hey, I'm in charge. You know what happens when the brown beauty's on duty. Jesse T. Hey, I can't help but being me. And we got that coming up here on YouTube. So go to YouTube.com/Jesse Torrero. Thank you much. And subscribe. It's free. And 2018 is going to be a big year for us. Also, we are out on live stream and Periscope, and can't forget about our friends on Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Google+, and all around. And on our global radio network of thepowerofvoices.com. And you go down to the Jesse T Show, about 75 different shows and hosts and guests there. Man, it's an eclectic, wild, fun format. Yeah, there's bound to be something you like there. Download that free app for your Android, your Samsung, and your Apple. All right, we got to take care of that business there. Oh, yes, by the way, one of our sponsors is Win-Win-Win LLC, the real estate and loan firm. Check them out at 818-805-4400. You can also check them out at Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero Broker. Yes, I'm sponsoring my own self, so I need somebody that I got to sell a house or buy a property or do a loan or something. Hey, that's how we pay for this stuff, and that's how I'm going to take care of you on YouTube. So you see, kind of gets together there. And one last thing I do want to mention, I'm gonna whip this out. I'm whipping it out. I'm gonna whip it out, guys. So, you know, girls and boys underage, get away. No, seriously. Human trafficking. You know, I'm the director against for the Coalition Against Human Trafficking here in Los Angeles for 10 years now, and we cleaned up the whole northeast San Fernando Valley from pimps, prostitutes, and human traffickers, and we have a lot of that in the news right now. It's just disgusting, and I always like to tell you, if you are a person that is a victim and you happen to be checking out our show, or if you know somebody, call this number, 1-888-539-2373. 888-539-2373. This is a 24-hour service for you to help yourself and help somebody be rescued, because only 3% of people that are trafficked in America today ever get rescued. In 7 years, most of them die, and that's what happens. So we want you to, you know, help out and help the situation, keep your eyeballs open. Now, I'm going to be very proud to get this gentleman in here. I'm adjusting the camera just a little bit to him because he's so much more handsome than I am. Yes, and so debonair.
Oh, please.
Oh, yes, please. Look at that gothic, beautiful, deep, resonant, theatrical voice.
Gothic is the operative word here.
Hey, man, this is Patrick Kilpatrick, a superstar, the character actor of character actors. $12.42 after the show. Okay?
That's fine,
okay.
Sure.
Okay, no problem. And he's coming in here. We're going to have some fun.
Of course, that's just the tax on, what, $10 in California?
Yeah, right. I mean, we lose most of our money and end up going in our pocket.
There you
negative.
Go.
There it is. Absolutely. And that's something we can talk about here. You got to go to his IMDb site. You know, I've got it up right here. Well, yes, I got something up. I do get things up every now and then. Thank you very much, Ginseng. Yes, but, oh, boy, let me tell you, this guy has done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of films and TVs, and we were actually on soap operas together way back in the day.
That's a lot of hyperbole right off the bat.
Yeah, you like that?
Jesse?
Yeah, I know. But I'm good at that. You know that.
Hundreds and hundreds. I guess I'm into the second 100, maybe.
You are into the second 100.
Hundreds and hundreds, and then hundreds. If you add another 100 to it, it starts becoming hyperbole, and then it goes into outright lying.
Well, I am P.T. Barnum reincarnated.
I thought I was.
No, I am, man.
I thought I was with the Hollywood Celebrity Sporting Clays Invitational, which we hope to do for the third time soon.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well,
this is fun. For all you guys who love the Second Amendment, this is fun.
Well, it's for people way beyond just the Second Amendment. If you like Spanish dancers and great food and pirate reenactors, it's all around a sporting clays tournament. We had 166 celebrities there the last time at Oak Tree Gun Club in Sylmar.
That's a great place to shoot.
Yeah, we've did the first one at Triple B in El Monte, and it's sort of the Charlton Heston celebrity shoot that ended in '92 with his passing, or that was the last time he did it, and then it's sort of that on acid. So we've never given out a Band-Aid. We have every kind of firearm known to man.
Acid and shotguns and AR-15s. Oh,
that's right. Well, think of a golf tournament for charity and for wounded warriors with shotguns.
Yeah.
And there's Oak Tree has an immaculate cliff level sporting clays.
Yeah, it's
place.
Beautiful.
We had 6 different caterers. We had lobsters grilling at different posts. We have a really fabulous auction, all to benefit wounded warriors in the City of Hope Hospital. And you can pick up incredible bargains at exquisite firearms and trips to Montana and all kinds of things. So we'll be doing that again, perhaps in October. I have the luxury of doing it whenever I want, and this will be the 3rd reincarnation.
People that don't know anything about clay shooting, and basically what it is this clay cylinder about this big, about this round, it shoots out of a machine, and you have a shotgun. These shotguns are designed for this type of sport. But you can use them for anything, shotguns, but they're designed for this type of sport, and then it shoots out of this machine, and then you track it and shoot it, and you hit the clay, and some people hit it, and some people don't. And it's really fun.
Yeah, it's a video game for adults, really, and children. It's a great sport.
Some of the kids are really good at that.
Oh, God, my sons are naturally just great. A lot of women are fabulous with the hand-eye coordination, and we have a lot of beginners, and so we have NRA certified instructors at every station.
Right.
But the wonderful thing is you go to these different stations, and the clay pigeon is coming out at different speeds, from different angles, from different places.
You don't know where it's coming out.
No, there's a trick to each station. That's what people don't really realize, which mostly has to do with the positioning of your body. But it's a really grand sport, and that's why I've been involved in it for almost 3 decades. But we have cowboy action shooters out there. We have free hot dogs, organic ones, of course. We even have vegan food for our vegan friends.
And that facility up there at Oak Tree is really beautiful because they have the clay area, the shotgun area, then they have the pistol range.
They have pistol range archery.
They got the AR-15 or the rifle range.
Yep.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, did they build something for the CHP, something like a house, a shoot house or something like that?
Well, they actually have a rifle range, which is the area that we take over for our base camp because they're not using it that day. And they have everything there. They have archery. They have a fabulous couple of stores. They have a restaurant. It's essentially like a golf country club.
It really is.
That services the shooting passion.
Now, when does that take place?
Well, we're going to probably do it sometime in October. We're messing with the date right now because it can still be quite hot here in October, and we want people to be comfortable.
Right.
So we don't want to get into Thanksgiving. We'll do it when the time is right, and we've really had a grand time, and it's been very successful. We have being very pro-military, my father having been a Silver Star recipient and Purple Hearts recipient from World War II. We've always got a huge involvement of the military. lots of volunteers, and it's just a great time had by all.
That's great. You know, there's nothing like getting the family out there and having a family fun time like that. And it's all for a good cause too. When you talk about wounded veterans and wounded warriors, you know,
yeah,
it's all for that.
I really recommend people get out there and try it, and we show people how to do it. And you know, the light goes on, and they realize, hey, this is a tremendous sport.
Right, absolutely. I'm going to mention a couple of films. Under Siege 2. We had Star Trek. You were in Star Trek, and I'm a Trekkie all the way. So you know, I pay homage to the one that played in Star Trek because I've always had a fantasy of being on Star Trek, man.
Always best to be an officer rather than an alien.
Or a red shirt. No
one wants to date you if you're an alien, except the very weird. There were a couple of actresses on the show that got off on my Klingon.
I like that.
Actually, it wasn't Klingons. I was the first Kazon.
Did you learn a special language for that, like Klingon? No.
You'll have to read my book. I've got a book coming out, and Star Trek is a lot of time is devoted to it. And I was fortunate enough to be on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I like that series
as an officer. Right. Yeah, Avery Brooks was fantastic, and it's much better to be a hero than a wicked.
Because
mostly because of the makeup.
Right.
You know, the makeup. You're there at 4:15 in the morning, and if you're a regular, they put it on in sections. But if you're guest starring, it takes about 2.5 hours to get in.
And then you got to live with it all day long, and then the touch up.
Yeah. It's. I call Star Trek the River of Doom.
Yeah, man. But you know something? How gloriously fun that must have been to do. I mean,
well, what's fun is you go out to the conventions once in a while and you make a lot of money.
We're going to get Michelle Nichols.
Signing there. Someplace, somewhere in the world, at any given moment, there's a Star Trek convention going on.
You know, what about those
I haven't done it for many years.
At the conventions, they come dressed up like their favorite characters and everything.
Well, you're talking about, I think people have a tremendous need to fantasize and get out of their lives, and hence Renaissance fairs and Star Trek conventions.
You hit me right on the spot, man. Help me get out of my life, please.
Well, I'll tell you a little story that's a little crazy. I was filming a sequence for a film in Pennsylvania on a historic paddle wheel boat that plies the waters between Erie, Pennsylvania, and Canada. And so the premise of the sequence was terrorists took over this paddle wheel boat. And the only time we could film on this historic attraction, well, they actually had a wedding. And if I was getting married, the last thing I'd want to do is have a terrorist takeover during my wedding. So, but these people relished it, and they took it on, took us on. And so we virtually came in with the Erie SWAT team and the terrorists and all kinds of firearms, firing blanks and explosions and stun grenades and everything, because the SWAT assaults the place after a while. And we literally destroyed these people's wedding reception, and they were totally into it. And at one point, you know, unfortunately, in some of these terrorist things, you know, from Bestland and stuff, some rape occurs. So we asked for volunteers to play rape victims, sexual assault victims, and they all volunteered, including the bride, which was crazy.
Wow. The bride said, I'm going to get my last time right now, baby.
It was crazy. And, you know, and we're filming, and first of all, I was really sheepish just asking for volunteers, but here they come volunteering for this, and they went at it with gusto. And meanwhile, the cinematographer and myself were just like, we can't do this anymore. And but it really struck home to me that out there in the hinterland or wherever, first of all, the power of movies and television is very incredible. We took over Youngstown, Ohio once for a vampire movie, and people really appreciate that. And
especially when you go away out of
oh God, Hollywood's so jaded.
But when you go away, people just love to see that in their town.
Well, they do, and they provide a lot of resources, and it gives them a great economic boon often. But it made me realize how desperately people want to hence Halloween. They want to dress up and to escape.
Well, the
some
Rocky
aspects
Horror
of their
Picture
lives.
Show is another kind of
Exactly.
example of that. Dressing up your favorite character and participating with the movie that James Franco just did and won the Golden Globe and Screen Actors Guild
That's
Award
right.
for,
Yeah.
which is The Room or Disaster Artist with Woosaw. As the original Room. I mean, that movie was voted the worst movie ever in the history of making movies.
Well, it's like Ed Wood, yeah. Franco had a hell of a week. He got a Golden Globe nomination and sexual harassment
by 5.
Before the end of the week.
Yeah, but they basically placated a lot of that down. That it was really just kind of witch hunting.
Did they? I've been working so hard. I haven't followed.
It's moving in that direction real fast, especially since the Me Too girl came out. The one that started the Me Too, she came out and said, "No, Frank, he didn't do anything. No, that's not right." No.
Well, I'll have to check that out. I like to keep abreast of things. No pun intended.
What do you think about this? All this craziness going on in Hollywood right now? You think it's turning into a witch hunt, or it has turned into a witch hunt now?
I think all of this is really, really largely positive because people who, male, female, whatever, who use systems of power, legal or otherwise, I'm a big believer in defense of the innocent. And that's one of the reasons we're here, like you and your sex trafficking efforts and that kind of thing. And I think just because someone is really good at something professional, so say as Harvey Weinstein was, and he was a wizard at
him and his brother Bob were great
at a wizard at Academy Awards races and things like that. But that doesn't give you the license to exert that kind of power. I don't really understand it so much, except that because, frankly, for me, power like that wouldn't be of interest. Yeah. I have to have the illusion of love and affection from a woman,
well, psychologists and psychiatrists that study this stuff say it is all about the power, the control, and the power. The power and the control is the main apparatus in their mind. And their
I do say, there was a time when studio heads ran Hollywood like fiefdoms, as we all know, But I think the world would be a better place for getting rid of all of that. People should not be forced. Now, there are gradations, and there are situations where people who are celebrities can get targeted, sometimes with charges like that. We need to make sure that just because a charge is made, that doesn't mean that that a person is necessarily guilty of it.
Just what came out today, and we'll briefly touch this subject for just a second longer or so, but what came out today was a really raucous comedian of Indian background. He's AV. I can't remember his name.
And Sarah.
Yeah, and Sarah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And the accusation that was rallied against him now has turned into just a bad date. It was just a bad
I think
date.
if the standard becomes I was uncomfortable. Well, I'm uncomfortable with Jane Fonda being on television and an icon because I think she should have served
some time,
18 months in a federal penitentiary.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable with a lot of things, but that doesn't mean necessarily that I should get my will or I should have the ability to destroy somebody's character.
Absolutely.
I was uncomfortable with the IRS scandal, but that doesn't mean, we have to have some sort of legal definition of things.
Well, I think everything's gotten just too politically correct, and I'm not going to deal with that. I'll look the other way. It's not my problem. It's not happening to me. I think our society in the last 50 years has gotten really weak in that area. People don't stand up like they used to. Hey, Jacob Bresser says hello.
Hey, Jacob. We're going to meet tomorrow, I hope.
Yeah, he says, I request to be in your live video. He wants to be in the live video. Let's bring him up and see if we can. Let's see if we can bring him in here.
Jacob is an extraordinary line producer who really has directed some films that I've been involved with. He's a wonderful guy to shepherd a first-time writer through the process, and he does it really skillfully and very swiftly.
Well, there he is right there. Let's pop him out of here right now.
He's going to be with me directing. I'm going to be directing a picture called Burn Off, Hey, Jacob.
Can you hear us, Jacob? Where are you at? You're in the dark.
Get in the light. That's a metaphor for life, Jacob.
Jacob Bressler, man.
Find the light.
Sensei, how are you doing? Can you hear us?
No, I guess not. Well,
we'll move. Hey, give me. I'll try to rehook up with you. Are you there? Not.
It's like we're talking to somebody on the moon through a space. Anyway, Jacob is a warrior and a film warrior, and he's doing this new film with me called Burn Off, and he's a great commander. I'm really happy to be working with him.
He says, "I love you guys." Hey, we're gonna have to. We got to cut you out. Can you hear us, Jacob? No, he probably can't right now. Okay. Anyway, thanks a lot. He's a great guy. I love him, man. He's a Krav Maga guy, and
he is a guy, and he has a really great sense of common sense and the warrior spirit.
It's kind of, in this business, for all the people that we talk about that are doing the bad things, there's a lot of good people that do good things.
There are a lot. In 30 years as an actor. And 50 as a writer, the vast majority of people I've met, maybe 95% have been extraordinary. And the other ones have made things interesting. Mm-hmm. I don't really mind the nutballs, but of course they don't bully people like me. They bully the weak or the vulnerable.
They won't bully you. You kidding?
So,
come on. The guy can hit, a bullseye from 100 yards?
Well, that's not it. It's just a personality. Cowards are usually bullies are usually cowardly.
Yeah, absolutely.
On some fundamental level.
Hey, saying hi to Mark David James, saying hi to
wonderful sculptor. You all should check out Mark David James' sculptures. They're magnificent. And he will actually be placing some of those sculptures. I play the President of the United States.
Yeah, you got a new movie coming out that you're working on.
Well, we're just about to go into some principal photography of it, but I play the President, and Mark David James, I've known him for many, many years. He does a lot of sculptures that are reminiscent of Remington,
right?
With his own flair, and he's a great guy. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hey,
and there's Rod Jackson, former police officer, and owns Nuwadi Herbals, which are some great tonics and powders that people can use for different maladies.
Saying hi to our short 3643. Let's see who else is checking in here right now. Shoon, sling, slang. I can't even see that one. Some of these names that people give themselves online, I can't figure them out. It's like they're creating new language for me.
It's like people with an email that is like 40,000 characters long. It's like, have you considered that people are taking this down? Not exactly a great business decision to have, the Old Testament as as your email signature.
That's right. It's like this long, right? Luis Stefano.
Yeah. Hello, Luis.
He watches the show all the time. Yeah. Mary Parton, Daniel Harrigan, Gloria Villa, Meng, Frida. The list is going on. Thanks all for chiming in.
A lot of these people are contacts of mine, and I send a lot of love out to you all, and thank you for watching, and onward and upward.
So tell me about this new thing that you're doing, that you're putting together. We're going to play one of your trailers in a little bit, one of the many, and you have a nice little piece in that trailer. But tell me about this new thing that you're doing, where you're going to be playing the president. President?
I am. There's a wonderful guy named Jeff Schneider who's hired me as a lead actor a couple of times, and he's a terrific collaborator, and I'm co-directing this one with him and co-writing and co-producing it with him. Gratefully, the money arrived, which is always, the struggle in these things. And it's going to be a great piece. I've got a lot of celebrity people in it. In fact, one of biggest problems I have is whinnying that list down, because gratefully I am able to get people to work with me a lot. And we're doing some really fun, interesting things.
And it's going to be put in the future, right? It's kind of
it's set Inauguration Day 2020,
right?
And I play the president as he takes the mantle of power,
right?
So, and you,
me
are a story consultant, story collaborator, and you have tremendously altered the story, enriched it. I'm not kidding.
Lee's laughing.
He's laughing, but I swear to God. No.
Gee, thanks, man. I really appreciate your confidence
film.
in me.
We've already got some tremendously imaginative elements. And up to a point, it was somewhat of a parody, but then Jesse brought us a whole bunch of ideas that we discussed that allowed us to elaborate on it.
Yeah, well, a lot of historical stuff we put into this, that true dates and times and things that actually happened historically that brought us to a certain point in time, and then something else would happen historically.
In fact, a project that we are sending out to Amazon and Netflix, you've also influenced that one, which is a much bigger budgeted situation, but all of this has to do with who we are as Americans, and as occupants, citizens of the world, if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about it.
Well, you also have your memoirs coming out. You're writing a book.
I've been writing a book for 4 years, and
you're a journalist by trade, right?
I was for 13 years a journalist and an advertising writer in New York for just about every magazine in New York and most of the ad agencies, but which was a great beginning. But destiny had other plans for me, so I ended up becoming a playwright for a while, and then an assistant director and director off Broadway and on Broadway and West End of London. And
is that your true passion, writing? Is that something you kind of always wanted to do? Because you still do it.
That's what I initially started out to do. I'm really happy with acting, writing, and producing. I'm also happy with, and really have been getting a great deal out of teaching. I teach acting, writing, directing, and producing. Was invited to do a master's class at the New York Film Academy, and have done it at the University of Wisconsin and Hampton City College. And we have a mentorship program at Uncommon Dialogue Films with about 30 people in it. And we show them everything they need to become a full entertainment warrior.
Yeah, I like that, entertainment warrior, you know? I mean,
actors think that if somebody's of limited mind, they think they need to get it opened up to the fact that this is a multidiscipline endeavor. Every actor needs writing, directing, and producing. Every producer needs writing, acting, and directing. Every director needs producing, writing, and acting. So it's across the board. If you want to launch a career, it's the same pillars. If you want to maintain a career, it's the same pillars. If you want to have longevity, it's the same pillars.
Yeah, I used to write when I was a kid on everybody's garage and wall.
That's right. That's
where I learned to write. Freestyle graffiti.
A nom de plume, tagging.
In fact, I learned how to sing when I was a young actor here in town, and Christopher Robin, he was a longtime singing coach, Barbra Streisand, all those type of singers. He older man at the time, and I studied with him for a year. He gave me all the great songs that Little Richard did and Elvis Presley, right? And I sang all those songs for him for a year.
Did you ever sing any songs from Gene Pitney?
No, but at the end, he was really nice to me.
I'm going to be strong.
I'm going to be strong.
That's a great song.
Yeah, it is.
The reason I'm so into Gene Pitney is I grew up somewhat in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And he was called the Rockville Rocket.
Yeah, that's right.
But, a lot of the songs that you're describing, he wrote for other people.
I know he did. The prolific writer. Well, after a year, Christopher Robin was really nice to me. He gave me all my money back. And, I thought that was really gracious. I was a starving young actor and, a starving young entertainer when I was 18, 19, 17 years old.
Christopher Robin was like a Shakespearean figure, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was also in the Winnie the Pooh. Christopher Robin was the Winnie the Pooh.
Exactly. So you mean that metaphysics?
No, this guy really, his name was Christopher Robin.
Oh,
anyhow, he gave me all my money back and he told me never to come back.
That's not a good sign. That doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that destiny and the universe had another place for you to go.
Oh, okay.
So.
No.
Are you the father?
Yes, yes, I am. I have 2 6'5" sons that are extraordinary, and I'm not saying that because they're my kids. They're pretty extraordinary.
Oh, come on!
Men.
One's going to medical school, and the other one is going to.
The other one is the #1 student at the California College of the Arts. We know this because he got the most promising architectural student award his freshman year. He got the jury prize his second year. And he got second in the jury prize for his third year. I mean, what those kids are doing with computers, architecture, and art, and what my other son is doing with EMT and prerequisites for med school and all this other stuff, I'm actually envious of the knowledge they're getting. I wish I could go back to schools on a certain level, although all life is education, as we all know.
Right.
So, but they're really cranking. In fact, Sam, the one in architecture school, is on board to do the poster
sweet.
for Burnoff.
I like that. Make sure you get my name nice and big on it, okay?
We will,
Thank
we
you.
will, but that's not yet contractually obligated.
Oh, God,
on my
here we
part,
go already.
So, you know,
yeah.
generally I come from the University of Yes. A lot of producers come from the University of No. And so we'll work something out. I'm very generous when it comes to these things.
Hey, man, just, pay me any way you can, but I don't do dishes. And I don't do lawns anymore. I gave up doing lawns.
Any way I can. Well, let's see. There's rough trade of some kind, but you're working actively against that. So,
oh Lordy, Lord. Okay, so we got a trailer we're going to play. This is something called Blackwater. Actually, it's a cool movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme is in it, and Dolph Lundgren, the big guy, you know. And you play a interesting character. Set it up for us.
Well, you know, Jean-Claude and I did Death Warrant 28 years ago.
Yeah. This guy's done everything, guys. I didn't read. He won't let me read his IMDb. I mean, it's a list of lists.
Sure you can. You just have to do that in the dark of night, though. You have to do that, you know, huddled with a flashlight under the bed covers.
Is that what my life has come to?
Jean-Claude and I did Death Warrant to some effect 26 years ago, I think it was. And then he and Dolph did a movie called Universal Soldier, which was their biggest hit, the two of them, monetarily. And so it reunites those two and reunites Jean-Claude and I together. And great privilege to shoot this because we shot it on a submarine that's right alongside the University of Alabama in Mobile, Alabama, the battleship Alabama.
How cool that was, huh?
It's totally cool. My dad was an underwater demolition team guy in Okinawa, and the Alabama provided cover for those guys at Okinawa. And so 20 years after my father's passing, I was able to walk on this ship that gave him cover, and that was pretty crazy. And
well, let's play this. And before we do that, Lisa French says that Patrick has a nice smile and he should play the hero more often.
I totally agree with you, but you know, we live in a town predicated on vision, and there's precious little of it, Lisa. There's precious little of it. Well, you know, in all fields of human endeavor, vision is sorely lacking. Governmental, in not all forms, you have more than others. And there are some people in Hollywood with vision, but often because of time constraints and things, they always make the easy choices about things. And so I agree with you 100%. A long time ago, I went past the villain thing. But, you know, it's interesting. You know, Rutger Hauer.
Yes.
Rutger Hauer had a really diverse career until he played the villain in The Hitcher.
Yeah.
And he was so good that he couldn't get out of villains after that. Now he's doing some sort of
no, he was
wizards.
So good he couldn't.
He's doing wizards now. Yeah. Lisa, you go through periods. You know, you play the cowboy who gets redeemed, or the corrupt that is a corrupt cop, and you do that for 2 years, and it's difficult. It's a choice that actors have to make. Do I earn a living and support my children and turn on the electricity, or do I hold out for other things and perhaps hold out so long nobody's interested?
All right, so let's play that Blackwater. We'll play that Blackwater trailer right now with Patrick Kilpatrick and kick it off.
Are we still on camera while this is?
My name is Patrick Ferris. I'm a chief officer with SAD. I'd like to start by making you aware that you are an enemy combatant and therefore have not and will not be granted any rights. You know how this works, so I'll keep it simple. I want the location of the drive along with the names of those complicit in your efforts to sell it.
This won't go anywhere. In the old days, it was just red wire, blue wire.
I knew I liked you.
Very good, man. That little kicker at the end. What was it like working with Dolph Lundgren? I mean, he's such a iconic figure. He's so tall. Those jaw lines that he has. I mean, but from what people tell me, he's a lot of fun on set.
He's very polite. He's very Germanic. Very direct and professional. I actually didn't film with him, but I spent a lot of time at breakfast and things like that with him, chatting and all of that, and had met him before. Just very professional, very straightforward, and in very good shape too.
Yeah, he does look good. I saw him in the Expendables picture, and he still had it going on.
Yeah, he looks exactly like Dolph Lundgren.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme is still at it.
He's still at it.
Yeah.
If you want the skinny, you'll have to read my book about all things in Hollywood for the last 33 years in my life. And Jean-Claude can be very sweet.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
It's all right, the interesting thing about people who have been in the business a long time, they go through different phases of their life and their career, and ups and downs, and all kinds of tremendous things that happen to them, and then positive things that people that last is really, that's something that has a lot to say for itself right there.
He's enduringly, people are interested enduringly in following Jean-Claude.
Yeah.
I've been cultivating a movie with some people in Kurdistan. Well, or they're Kurds. There is no Kurdistan, but they wish that there was. And they, I start talking about working with Jean-Claude and getting him for a movie, and they just jump through hoops. They love to see him, and it's an interesting paradigm. Some people are just enduringly attractive to the global audience.
So when you take, are you taking roles now that fit an idea of where you want to be and where you want to go with your career at this point in stage? Because you've done everything. You've just about taken on every role you could do.
Well, that's a far cry. There's a zillion different things. There was a series of books called the Prey novels that I was interested in for a long time. As you get a little older, you have to change, and particularly if you're a producer. I mean, I just took myself out of the running of a role that I wrote for myself a while back, but now I'll be playing another role. You as a producer, you always want to do what's best for the show. What I'm really, Jesse, to be truthful, what I'm adamant about doing with my life is that I want everything that comes out of my life to reflect as much excellence as I possibly can put into it. It doesn't matter whether I'm teaching students or whether I'm writing a script for somebody else or whether I'm acting as a producer's consultant for another production or my own productions. I'm adamant that the rest of my days be spent only in excellent things. And I'm fortunate to have either the skill set or whatever in order to insist on that, or otherwise I really don't want to be involved in it.
Right. I can appreciate that.
A lot of people have ideas that are quite clever, but they really don't understand the business models.
Right.
They don't understand film storytelling as much as they need to. And so I'm really interested with people who want to collaborate and elevate whatever production they're in. I'm certainly very interested in parts that don't, I've played the white Aryan supremacist, hostage-taking, maniac, bank robber more than enough.
No.
I don't need to do that again.
Right.
It's
good to be at that point in your life where you can kind of start saying, look, I'm not going to do this. I want to do this now. I want to strive for this particular thing now, and I'm just not going to do stuff that doesn't reach the direction that I'm taking it and wants to go where I want to go.
Being this is going to sound unhumble, but I actually am very humble. But being very good in a bad movie doesn't really do much for me anymore, and hasn't for a number of years. So I try to elevate whatever production. Now, obviously, some productions, they let you do more,
right?
Or they'll some will even allow you to direct and produce and take over, and I'm most interested in that,
right,
as well.
So, but you had a recent experience.
I'm not going to tell Michael Mann how to direct his movie. He knows how to masterfully direct his movie. So in that case, I'd just be an actor. Right now, my production company, Uncommon Dialogue Films, has a full slate of projects that go from the very expensive, appropriately so, all the way to micro-budget stuff. So.
And you don't have to spend a lot of money like you used to in the old days, because there's so many ways to get a project out, so many distribution channels now, so many people that want to work, and good people that you come along with to participate with what you're doing and like what you're doing. So it's a different game right now. And like you said, these kids coming out of film school and stuff now, it's amazing what they're coming out, the tools and the ideas and the directions that they're taking now. They have a lot more avenues.
There are, I still would say the vast majority of film schools, they may selectively turn out people that are good filmmakers,
right,
but they really aren't that skillful. And some of them are downright, I don't get it. Like you'll have a master's program at certain universities in acting,
right,
and yet the vast majority of people never even get on the stage.
Yeah, you got it. When you're a master, you should be able to do everything, right? Like a master plumber, you should be able to do everything.
It's not through choice. Perhaps that university has some cliques, and and a lot of BFAs, Bachelor of Fine Arts, places. The point of it is, it takes, in some cases, decades to learn every aspect of idea inception to global return, and many people don't take that time. And otherwise, you're taking money to make a movie, and you're not going to repay the principal. You're not going to get the investors into a premium interest situation.
These movies make money,
and you're not going to get into profit making.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. At the bottom line is that your movies make money, and people invest in you, and they're going to come out. They're going to come out with a profit in their pocket, and that's what it's about at the end game.
Well, it's about the merger of those two things, and it's kind of like a business that needs to be ecologically sound as well. There's no separation between productivity of the business and the ecological way of operation. It's kind of like you've been on radio. You don't have to be just a metal person, and you don't have to be a punk person, and you don't have to. One of the reasons so much great music comes out of England at various times is because all of the musical styles feed into one or two stations, and so grannies listen to punk, and kids listen to Tchaikovsky.
Absolutely right.
So
you have a convergence there.
We're compartmentalized sometimes, and we
in America,
need not to
we
be.
definitely are.
Yeah, we should not be.
Absolutely right. Compartmentalized. Let's talk about that. You're an Italian motorcycle buff. And but now you crossed over to the big boys. You crossed over to the big boys now. Is that, you know? I grew up on the back end of a 38 knucklehead Harley Davidson, and you kind of made that threshold over there. And what an experience you had going all the way to Santa Barbara and back. And you took a course, and what's all that going on?
That's right.
Man?
One of the reasons that I'm drinking cold brew coffee today is I graduated from the Harley Davidson Riding Academy last weekend, which was for somebody, it was just kind of brutalizing.
How do your
but
kidneys
I passed
feel? How do your
and
kidneys
everything.
feel?
No, I feel great. It's just that in order to be really focused, classroom and range for 3 days, after a week of filming and all of this other stuff, you know, weekends were invented for a reason.
Oh, really? What are those?
Well, we all need some downtime.
The honey-do list. That's what happens.
You know, the young actors,
Right.
I think Heath Ledger has passed away because he should have taken a vacation after one of his jobs instead of going right back into something. And people don't really realize for any person of any doctors, firemen, whatever, people need break times. They need to come down. But yes, I had no intention of getting another motorcycle. I was always either an Italian motorcycle guy.
Moto Guzzi?
Yeah, I had a Moto Guzzi 850 Le Mans.
It pulls to the left every time you juice it.
Loved it. Or BMW did the same thing at the time. Although that was about a third more expensive.
Yeah.
And I think not worth a third. Exquisite machine.
Yeah.
But Moto Guzzi, you know,
that was a great bike.
Italians weren't brilliant at marketing, but what a great bike it was.
They're brilliant making pretty ladies. I'll tell you that much. Yeah.
Well, that's true of all races in all countries. Good Lord.
It's okay. I put my foot in my mouth. I do all the time.
No, you're absolutely correct. But, you know, here in L.A., we have a polyglot of extraordinarily attractive people. and
the melting pot of America.
And also, that's as long as people they're beautiful inside. That's probably what's most important. And certainly, you know, I have a 55-year-old actress never stops working that I instruct. Wow. She never stops working. And it's a function of her drive and her taking the expertise that we've given and running with it. And then you'll have somebody who looks like a goddess or a god and they're 22, but they can't get it together because they either just don't have the drive or whatever. So age really isn't a function of that. But we're getting far afield from the motorcycles. Yes, I do have the prettiest Harley in the world.
Well, not really. We're not really that far off because when you're riding a Harley, it's always beautiful to have a young lady behind you.
Mine doesn't even have a seat. I would not let my girlfriend on this motorcycle with me. You have to understand, I had an 850 Moto Guzzi. This thing is 1,800 cc's.
Yeah, it's a big
It's
baby.
it's like taking a tugboat out from the East River when I go out to see. It's exquisite to look at, but I think of it as a giant chrome tractor.
What did I tell you when you told me you got it when you're driving through traffic? What did I say?
You know, it's like
it's scary as heck.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, and by the way, if you're 20 or you're in your 20s or 30s, that's a great adventure. For a guy like me, it's like journeying to the North Pole. You know, I come back and I'm like, I have to get a chiropractic adjustment. I have to get a massage or two. I have to detox. But driving at street level in L.A.
For constipation, the best thing is to get on the back end of a Harley and ride a Harley, man.
Well, fortunately, I don't have to worry about that. But I didn't intend to, but I had the privilege and the great adventure with my girlfriend. I was invited to do an MC job of a music festival up in Carson City. And to benefit the 4 surviving children of a Marine deputy Deputy Howell, who was killed in a gun battle for answering a domestic violence call. Mm-hmm. So they asked me to come up and do the MC thing and organize with them the music festival. And it took place at a Harley dealership, which is a fabulous place.
Yeah.
It's called Battleborn Harley.
Although, Harley dealerships are a toy shop. They're just beautiful to walk into. The way they got them all decked out and everything, it's just gorgeous.
Well, this place holds 40,000 people for a concert.
Linda says she likes Triumph. She likes those trumpets.
I love Triumphs. I had a 650 Bonneville.
How about a 650 Beezer? BSA, baby.
I had one of those, too. Now, over a period from 1963 to, I'm dating myself, to 80, I had about 5 or 6 motorcycles. And I had a 1200 Harley at the time that was chopped, which
nice.
Just looking at it would make you get covered with grease.
Yes. Yes, I know all about that.
So, yeah, I know you're incredibly skilled. I talked to you over the phone. People should know this about it. He articulated to me, as I was just barely waking up one day, the origins and evolution of every single motorcycle engine. And I was like astounded because you actually made it comprehensible. I've been to the Harley museum, and it's an extraordinary place. But you made me understand the pan heads and the knuckle heads and the shovel heads and all of this other stuff. And I'd never really had it articulated to me. I'm like, just turn it on and ride. But the Academy was great because you learn a lot of the physics. I mean, I rode for 20 years and now sort of understand the physics of a lot of the things we're doing rather than just intuitively doing it. So even though I still had a license, I wanted to do it. But this motorcycle is a monster. I mean, you know, first of all, it's not a cafe racing style where you're over. Yeah, no. You're sitting up, so you have to have a windshield once you hit the highway. Yeah. And if you don't, just the slightest touch on the accelerator, you'll get blown right off of the back. So
what's that, Electric Light or Fat Boy or what?
It is the prettiest Road King you've ever seen.
Road Kings.
And it's pearl blue, and Battleborn, the dealership, tricked it out for their dealership. And we were doing YouTube commercials for this music festival in the dealership. And I looked down and I said, this is the prettiest motorcycle I've ever seen. And then my girlfriend, lovely Heidi Bright, said, that's the prettiest motorcycle I've ever seen. So I said, you should give me this motorcycle to put it in films and television shows. They said, well, we won't give it to you, but we'll give you a really good deal. So they gave it to me at about...
a really good deal.
A really good deal. Yeah. And it's exquisitely hand-painted, and I've used it for a photo shoot. We'll use it for burn-off, and I did the journey to Santa Barbara, and I went to an investment meeting in Malibu. All of which convinced me that I'm not really a biker anymore.
Well, look at...
I can do it, and I'm glad to be able to do it in movies and television shows, but give me an Italian convertible with a roll bar, and I'll be fine.
Well, tell you what,
isn't life all about having fun?
That's right.
Even if you're being challenged?
Yeah, I'm challenged right now.
Well, we're all challenged on a daily basis.
And I'm having fun because when you're done with your bike, you're going to give it to me, right?
Well, I'll give you a really good deal. And I'll autograph it for you.
Oh, gee, thanks. All right. That's what I really want. Yeah.
But God bless them. You know, people love Harleys and they love motorcycles. This would be a fabulous motorcycle for one of my sons, but I don't want my sons to go near motorcycles.
I would not let my son was watching Jesse Andrew Torrero earlier. I wouldn't let him ride a bike, period.
Yeah.
And
I think my son's the architect is more of a BSA Triumph guy himself.
The new Triumphs
pretty
look
slick.
Pretty nice,
He's
man.
pretty slick.
The new Triumphs look pretty nice.
They do. I wonder if they. What's the CCs on those?
They're big.
Yeah,
they got them up at 1,200 now.
Well, I still wish I had that Moto Guzzi.
They still make the BMW.
BMWs are awesome bikes.
Moto Guzzi's engine is like this, and every time you hit the gas, it tweaks you to the left. It pulls left. But the engine does this.
Isn't that the same with the BMW, though?
No, the BMW
because that's the shaft.
Yeah, but the BMW seems to run a little straighter when you pump the gas.
You know, it was never a problem for me. I loved it.
I mean, it wasn't.
I loved it.
I used to drive that bike up and down the streets in Burbank. My grandfather had an 850 Moto Guzzi, and I used to drive it when I was just a kid up and down the streets.
You know, you have tiny little things that would have to be straightened out the first 6 months, but after that,
Great
it was
bike.
such
It had
an
the drive
immaculate
shaft.
bike.
It was one of the first bikes in America to be marketed with the drive shaft.
Yeah,
Everybody
you
was
could
running
wear
chains.
tux on it and get no grease on you.
Yeah, the police used it for a while, too.
I raced around Manhattan and would get out to New England or go all the way to Maine on it. You could keep it in Manhattan for $50 right next to a Rolls Royce that was paying $600 for the parking spot. And it was a terrific thing to have in Manhattan.
Rod Jackson says he's thinking about getting an Indian Chief.
They're a good bike, but that's sort of
they're even bigger.
Harley sensibility, isn't it?
Yeah, they're even bigger. They're heavier and they're a little bit longer.
Rod, you've got the jacket for it. He always, whenever I see him, he's in a fringe jacket. So easy rider, here you come.
That's the next bike I'm going to get is an Indian Chief, man. Big, huge bike. I just love that Indian.
Well, we have about 10 more minutes. What is 5 minutes, 6 minutes?
Yeah, we've got about 4 or 5
What should
more
we
minutes.
cover? I just want to thank you very much for your collaboration on
we could
Burn
talk
Off.
like this for hours, man. I mean, we can keep on
Well,
going.
I know you can.
Oh, gee, thanks. Yeah,
No, I know we can. Listen, I always say I'm like an old person at a bus stop. You ask me how I am, and I'm talking 4 hours later. So
I really appreciate the opportunity to contribute a little bit to those projects you're doing.
I cannot, would not, and can't praise your involvement enough.
Thank you, man. Well, you've actually
really
saved my
extraordinary.
life because
you know, you're always looking for a way to make a film that leads us to our better selves.
Right.
I think the problem with so much art and so much of entertainment is sometimes it doesn't lead us to our better selves. But if you think of the great movies of all time, they always do that.
Yeah, but
the great novels.
The big studios won't let you make movies like that anymore. That's why you got to do it independently. Good storytelling.
Well, you do, and I'm not ungrateful for the experience that's taken me to the. I think you have to. It's the same with book publishing. I have a wonderful agent in New York. But I can see there's already going to be like a director's cut because people don't really realize what a dress code you have to meet in order to get a publishing deal in New York. And I think 80% of it is brilliant. I think the other 20%, that's why there's going to be a director's cut of the book. And because I come from entertainment, but it doesn't fit their dress code. So you've got to, I think you've got to merge those two worlds. It'd be fabulous to do a studio movie and hopefully make it have heart and character because those are the ones that are enduring. If you think Braveheart, 300,
love those movies.
Saving Private Ryan.
Great
those
movies.
are
We had
movies
Tom Sizemore in there the
that
other
came
day.
out of the great power and vision of particular artists. And
they're making those cartoon movies now.
That's true, and they make money, and the audience needs to respond in whatever way they respond. But I think the artists and the creators have an obligation to create stuff that leads people to their better selves.
Saying hi to Haas Gomez. He's the publisher of Hollywood Magic Magazine. And it's a magazine both in English and Spanish covering the Hollywood scene. And it's getting very popular out there, especially in the Latino marketplace. So thanks a lot, Haas, for checking in with us. You know,
nice to talk to you.
You mentioned something there about filmmaking and having to fit into, or book writing having to fit into a certain parameter that they're looking. The great Hall of Famer baseball player Reggie Smith. Reggie Smith was my son's baseball coach all through his career. He's transitioned now, my son, into Spartan Pro Racing. That's what he does now. But Reggie used to say...
You'll have to explain what that is to me at some point.
Yeah, I will.
I get a gist.
You'll go out with me one day. We'll run 6 miles and over 22 obstacles.
Oh, it involves running.
Yeah.
No. I'm a bicycle guy.
Well,
if
you
want
can
to
ride
do
your
the
bike
bicycle.
and I'll run. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it'll be
Trek
fun.
850 or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyhow, he would always say that as you go up in the sport, into college and then into the big leagues and the minors, the rookies and all that, you have to fit a certain idea that the scouts have about you in terms of body size. Like all pitchers today are 6'4" or bigger. God would love to have a left-handed guy who throws a fastball, right?
Sure.
Shortstops are long and lanky. Catchers are short and squat again. So you, just like book writing, you got to fit what they're looking for. All right, the Jesse T Show right here on thepowervoices.com and facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. It's archived now, and also YouTube, archived there at YouTube/Jesse Torrero. And we appreciate all our live stream audience, all our Periscope, Instagram, buzzed out a little bit, all our Facebook guys. Patrick Kilpatrick.
God love you, man.
God love you,
Take care
brother.
of you and keep up that good work with the sex trafficking.
Absolutely, man. You got to join the cause one day. You got to do something about that.
Happy to do so, and I already volunteered.
I know you did. I appreciate that. So, look, guys, next week we're going to be here live at 5 o'clock. Tomorrow we got Road Tripping with Dan the Man and I. So check that out, and check out all Patrick's stuff on IMDb and follow his career along. It's fantastic. All right? Hey, the world according to Torrero. You're straight on the point, baby. Boom, yeah. Woo! The Brown Beauty is off duty. See ya. All right, so we have to negotiate that record deal and that film deal. We got to get the music rights there, and we got to take care of all of it.